Trigger warning. This video contains descriptions of slavery, police violence, and racist ideas. Please watch at your own discretion. If you choose to watch this video, please do what is needed to take care of yourself. For example, if the content becomes overwhelming, take a break from watching. After viewing this video, it may be helpful to engage in a mindfulness exercise. A suggested mindful practice can be found in the description for this video. Hello everyone, and welcome back to the video series, The White Lie. Today I'd like to continue from several weeks ago by looking at the effects of white supremacy on the criminal justice system. Although we in this country are taught to perceive criminal justice as objective and fair, this is far from the truth. As we look at the history of criminal justice, the laws and policies in our country, and the outcomes of criminal justice, the writhing tendrils of white supremacy become increasingly clear. To begin with, let's look at the juvenile justice system. National data collected between 2003 and 2013 reveals that non-white folks are involved with the juvenile justice system at greatly disproportionate rates. On average, Black children are 4 more times likely to be imprisoned, with that number rising to 10 times as likely in some states. Right here in Maryland, Black children are 5 times more likely than white children to be imprisoned. Similarly, Hispanic children are between 1 and 5 times as likely as white children, with Native children between 4 and 10 times as likely as white children to be imprisoned. Despite making up a minority of the American population, non-white children are disproportionately likely to be arrested. So what causes this? The school-to-prison pipeline describes the link between unequal enforcement of zero-tolerance school policies, increased police presence in schools, and incarcerated youth. Zero-tolerance school policies enforce an extreme punishment, such as suspension or expulsion, for trivial behaviors, such as rolling your eyes at a teacher or showing disrespect. These policies are often enforced by police officers serving as school resource officers, frequently from referral by a teacher. However, non-white children are significantly more likely to be the victim of a zero-tolerance policy, increasing their contact with the police, who often respond to minor infractions with arrest, if not violence. It should come as no surprise that for-profit prison companies therefore research test scores, the number of single-parent households, the extent of food apartheid present, and income levels, in order to decide the most profitable place to build their next prison. Even once a non-white person has left school, they're still more likely to be in contact with the justice system, and once involved, are more likely to be convicted of a crime. Non-whites are given harsher sentences than whites for the same crimes, and are less likely to be given parole when that option is available. Non-violent drug offenses, which occur in similar rates among whites and non-white people, are far more likely to be applied to persons of color than to whites. Consider the difference in response to the cocaine epidemic of the 1980s and 90s with the opioid epidemic of today. Black persons convicted of crack cocaine were framed in the media as super predators, whereas the largely white users of opiates today are greeted with compassion and understanding. Black and brown folks were made into criminals as a result of their substance addiction, while generally, white folks received mental health and medical treatment for their opioid addiction. Bias emerges each step along the way in the criminal justice system, from arrest and legal representation to jury selection and sentencing. This bias is often intentionally exploited by lawyers who discriminate against non-white jurors but hide this bias behind a mask of propriety. Furthermore, a long list of perverse incentives encourages continued imprisonment of non-white persons. The 13th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution, which abolished slavery, did so with one important loophole. Slavery may be used as a punishment for crime. As a result, imprisoned persons can be exploited for unpaid or low-paid labor. When the California wildfires were raging in the summer of 2020, the firefighters who battled those fires were enormously comprised of imprisoned persons. Similarly, corporations are given a $2,400 tax break per imprisoned person that they hire, all the while paying as low as 12 cents an hour. Companies from McDonald's and Starbucks to Walmart and Nordstrom's have all used subcontractors who employed imprisoned persons to improve their profit margins. Taken together, the criminal justice system portrays a machine designed by white supremacy to directly oppress and exploit black and brown bodies. Each step along the way, the assumption of white innocence and black guilt work together to ensure that non-white persons are imprisoned and their white oppressors get to walk free. Change is possible, but it must occur in the context of widespread overhaul of each and every step of our legal and criminal justice systems. Thank you again for watching this video. I hope you'll join me next week when we'll examine how white-identified persons can take steps to delve deeper into what it means to have a white racial identity. In the meantime, here are some resources related to today's topic that will help you learn more about the injustice of our systems. Goodbye for now.